Hi, welcome to VYAPT Growth Series, Season 2, Episode 16. VYAPT Growth Series is a platform to talk about growth and opportunities in different sectors of business. And in today's episode, we have with us Mr. Kapil Maheshwari, leader Renewable Energy Development at Reliance Industries Limited. Hi, Kapil. Nice to have you
Hi,
with us.
good evening, everyone.
Good evening, Kapil. So we'll start with our curiosity, Kapil, and we have been seeing a lot of buzz around renewable energy across the globe. So, what are the growth prospects of the renewable energy industry, and how it is working towards making a sustainable future?
A very relevant question for today's time, Pankaj, given the fact that, everybody right now is talking about climate change. Present geopolitical situation across the globe has, made energy security for every nation a very important topic. And given this, one of the key aspect is how each nation, and particularly let me talk about India, also would want to secure its position in energy. And renewable energy plays an important role there. Technically, it all started possibly in 2010 when the National Solar Mission was launched, and in possibly in 12 years, India has made strides both in solar and wind. So we have operational capacities of 60 gigawatt around for solar, 40 gigawatt for wind, and at the same time around 5 to 10 gigawatt for biomass and other renewable technologies. So given that, and solar being the most prominent renewable technology, and it it if you talk of the growth, we have seen a good amount of growth in this industry. Earlier it used to be at 17 rupees in 2010. We are talking at the lowest possible generation tariffs of any form of electricity now is with the renewable. So that we have seen bits of 1.99. That's a shift. We have seen the capital cost for setting up solar power plants coming down dramatically. We have seen interest from all possible stakeholders, from financial institutions to strategic investors to private equity, venture capital, long term patient capital, investing agencies within India, outside India, everybody investing in this renewable growth journey for the country. How it helps, possibly is because every corporate or nation has given a net zero target for itself. So, take an example, many of these leading corporates have given from 2035 to 2050 going net zero. And India as a nation has already pledged 2070 to be net zero. And one of the key low hanging thing to go towards this net zero path is the adoption of renewable energy and transition towards non-fossil fuel based power sources. So as a country, we have a target to be 500 gigawatt non-fossil fuel by 2030, and that mix is around almost 50% of our overall power needs. We all have to be aware that we are nearly what third largest carbon emitter in the globe, and renewable can certainly add a good value if the country wants to be net zero. So that is the way I feel is the sustainable growth which will happen, and the future prospects for renewable will arrive.
Kapil, you rightly talked about that because of our net zero goals. We are working really hard in terms of the green energy or renewable energy businesses as a country. But do you think that the growth prospect as a country and energy being the largest segment in the world, if I talk from the business perspective, has our growth trajectory has grown since the time we have been investing as a nation? We have been investing a lot into renewable energy system.
Growth prospect seems very good, and that is the reason we have seen capacity addition. That is the reason we have seen money flowing for from across the globe, including some of the largest industrial houses within the country. uh, we have seen new technology, and we have seen the now the phase of Atmanirbhar, or the manufacturing aspect of it also. So we were largely dependent on uh, im- uh, imports from certain countries for our solar panels, etc. Which is what also now there is in plan to do manufacturing of complete vertical integrated solar module manufacturing within the country. So these are some of those growth prospects which are there for the future. Apart from that, in terms of a journey for in renewable, I would say it all started by adding some portion in the grid, that you are able to add some renewable power, but majority of it was still coal or gas based power. Now where people are talking that to make it round the clock power, so you get renewable power 24/7. And for that there are other dimensions which are open. So it opened doors for addition of storage to the renewable power. It opened doors for usage of renewable for green hydrogen production. So all these would definitely see for the next 1 decade growth in renewable happening through this.
it, that's perfectly fine, Kapil. And we also saw that India as a nation was also an energy deficient, not able to produce what it wanted earlier. But from there, going on to a point wherein in years to come we can be an energy supplier to the world. Do you see this coming true in recent future, or maybe in some time, maybe 5 years, 10 years down the lane, that we as a nation could be one of the energy suppliers of the world?
Definitely. See, world is moving towards renewable. Now, India has two advantage there compared to most of the developed nation. First, it has land. You really need land to do solar power plants. Many of the developed nations may not have. Take an example, Japan, Europe. They don't have land available to do very large scale solar power plant.
Mhm.
India, it has a proven solar story already. So it
True.
works, and it works very very well. Third, India is blessed by 300 sunny days. So you get very good irradiation throughout the country almost. So we are able to generate from the same size of system. If I compare any of those European country compared to India, I would be able to generate more power. So those are plus point what India has. And in terms of the usage of that, many of these countries are now looking energy security very very seriously. And one of the key aspect would be to use hydrogen, and especially green hydrogen as a fuel there. And India would be able to supply those needs to these nations, on island nations as well, because of its advantages what I just mentioned. So I think in next decade or so, from a deficit to an energy exporter, uh, is a very much reality what I see.
So India moving from a deficit to a energy exporter in years to come. Let's see how the thing goes in another 1 decade. But we are really bullish about the things, and how we as a country are developing forward in terms of making ourselves as an energy supplier to the world. Now, when you talk about, a lot of development has happened, and a lot of growth things has come up, and we are still to achieve many things in this and renewable energy segment. Can we also talk around what are the current or upcoming innovation in this particular industry, and how this industry is creating employment opportunities?
So if you talk of current and future innovation happening, first, we are working towards improving the solar module efficiencies. So newer technologies like heterojunctions or TOPCon is going to replace the most prominent monoPERC technology, and they are more efficient. So the efficiency of these panels would be more. Second, this whole problem with the renewable energy is that it is an intermittent source of power. You get solar during daytime, you get wind power during evenings, or very, very seasonal like May to October in India. So this seasonality or an intermittency can be resolved because everyone looks for round the clock power. So the next innovation which will happen probably would be in storage. And when I say storage, it could be electrochemical, which is battery. It could be mechanical. It could be pumped hydro storage, where you use where in the daytime when you are generating solar, you take the power from down to up, and then in the evening you again take the power from up to down and rotate a generator, and you are able to provide round the clock power with renewable. So these are things which will continue to happen to make this renewable energy round the clock. And the major important thing with this would be, as I said, would be green hydrogen, because uh, uh, it acts not only solve your electricity problem, it solve your energy issues. They are very hard to abate sectors, which are, which is very difficult to remove carbon, especially heat application. So industries like steel, cement, fertilizers, refineries, in those places, presently also we are using hydrogen, but that's gray hydrogen, possibly in replacement with green hydrogen as a fuel. Then renewable would see how we can make that happen. So possibly in combination of renewable with the electrolysis would be the next thing which will happen as we move towards this Atmanirbhar theme of announced by our honorable Prime Minister. Possibly in domestic manufacturing would definitely involve more R&D aspects within the country.
So when we have a lot of manufacturing coming up, and as you said that we are seeing a lot of innovation happening, so shall we also expect a lot of employment opportunities happening, both direct and indirect, as you rightly mentioned some time ago?
Definitely, in terms of direct employment, it will be, uh, EPC companies or the developers who are involved in setting up solar power plants or installation and commissioning of those kind of plants. In terms of indirect employment, so anything what you do with solar power plant, there'll be supply chain, there'll be, people setting up facilities for making concrete, for steel. There'll be people setting up facilities for labor deployments. So many of these would evolve in terms of the indirect employment, uh, be it in electronics, mechanical, and structural part of it. So any power plant happening would involve almost 4 times to 5 times compared to its direct employment in number of indirect employees. For every single one direct, there will be 4 to 5 indirect employment which is created. So that as capacities grows, humongous potential exists for employment within this sector.
We also seem to have, the fastest growth rate in this particular decade. Looks like this decade belongs to India, and not only in the energy segment but across the segments of different across the world. And we have been seeing the condition of market across the globe, while India is faring much better than what the market conditions are outside. What is your take to it? Because many leaders are talking about that this decade belongs to India, and India is going to serve the world. So how what are your take around this statement?
So, Pankaj, I would still keep my thoughts to the industry where I belong. And there I can certainly say that this decade would be very important coming from India. And two specific reasons to that. We were always been very good on the demand side of it. Now
Mhm,
we are going better in terms of supply as well. First.
mhm.
Second, while we say that India has been one of the lowest per capita carbon emission, we are still the third largest contributor to the carbon emissions. And this whole story would then place us above many of those developed nations in terms of adoption, and proving the world that how you put your money where your word is. So just walk the talk is what we are going to show to the world, that how it's going to happen. And I certainly feel that we would be in a leadership position compared to many developing or developed nation in that regard.
Thanks, Kapil. After some straight answers, we move forward to the rapid fire questions. So we'll have 10 questions with us, and you will get a maximum of a second or two to answer those questions. You can answer
That's
it
scary.
in
That's scary.
you can answer it in one word or a maximum a sentence. You can take. Are you
Okay, let's
ready?
go ahead.
So here we have 10 questions for you. I'll start with my first question. What would you do for fun if you were stranded on a desert island?
Dancing.
Okay, so you'd be dancing, right? Your favorite OTT show?
Scam 1992.
What's your favorite Avengers film?
I don't think I've watched many, but Avengers Endgame. My daughter made me watch that.
Which passion would you love to follow?
Same answer, dancing.
Okay. What's your favorite movie line? Any punch line or a movie line?
2 seconds is too short, but uh, जहां हम खड़े हो जाते हैं लाइन वहीं से शुरू होती है.
Wonderful. What was the first phone you ever had?
Um, it was a Nokia with a torch. I think Nokia 1100.
Okay. Nokia 00. Uh, who is your favorite comedian?
Kapil Sharma.
Okay. What's your favorite fast food?
Bel Puri.
Now, the ninth one. What achievement are you most proud of? One of the achievements you're most proud of.
Helping an employee, one of my ex-employee getting a job in a very tough situation.
Oh, that's wonderful. And the last one is your favorite wildflower.
Wild, I don't know many wildflower, possibly sunflower. I mean, that's only, I have no clue what all would be wildflowers.
Fair enough, fair enough. So you have 10 on 10 in this rapid fire round. Some very fantastic answers given by you, Kapil. And now we'll move forward to the last segment of this particular series, which talks about you as a leader. So, Kapil, we had talked a lot about this particular industry, wherein you talked about how bullish we are in terms of the kind of industry we are seeing in coming future. But as a person, when we talk about you as a leader, what memorable lessons did you learn from your mentors? Obviously, you must be having a lot of mentors from which you must have learned over the years now, and how it has impacted you as a leader.
So I would say, Pankaj, possibly, I don't consider mentors to be only your superiors, seniors, bosses, managers,
Very
etc. Only.
true.
Um, you could learn from, people around you.
True.
One of the key aspect what I have learned from, of course, from a very formal relationship with my superiors was that the devil is in the detail, and I've been following that aspect very very much, and that has made me, person who is very detail oriented. Most of the time you feel that when you do an superficial analysis, you figure out things are right, but when you do things in detail, as is when you figure out that details are required. The other aspect what I've learned from them is, especially on team and people management, is how do you bond with your team and be a team player. So that's something I really relish. uh, but some of the things which I have probably learned from people around me would be on time management. In fact, most of the time I take inspiration from my 14-year-old daughter regarding time management, because they do possibly much more than what we think in today's time, and how they spend their time between competitive exams to school studies to extracurricular, etc. Actually drives me that we have a couple of things only to do while they are able to juggle between too many things. So possibly in time management is what I would have uh, learned from such people around me, especially younger ones.
So you could talk about a lot of things which you have learned from people around you, and which has helped in your leadership style or serving the people across the different companies where you have worked. Anything specific, that one thing which you'd like to probably share with our viewers is may not be the mantra, but something you have always sticked with, which has helped you in your growth over the years.
One of the key thing what I've seen, and a couple of places where I've gone, is uh, word is a bond. If you keep following what you say, and people believe that you're good to deal with. Yeah, you will always find you know people who are able to work with you, uh, even contractually or even outside the contract. You feel that there is a comfort, and that comfort could be with your suppliers, vendors, with your clients, everywhere, because they believe that if this guy has told this, he will be delivering this.
Wonderful, Kapil. I think you have given some straight answers from your heart, and it's really great to have you in our series. Thank you so much for these straight answers from heart and mind. It was great to have you in our VYAPT Growth Series.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.
Thank you.